साथी जो है
Yes,
वो
yes, live, we are live now.
कैसे करते हैं लाइव भाई हो गए।
Namaskar. I'm Kumar Akes, and you're watching Global Governance News TV. You're talking the UN COP26 conference and its challenges. Just as you know, the COP26 conference is going on in Glasgow, in UK, and under the presidency of UK. And the Indian Prime Minister and all premiers attended. More than 120 leaders attended this conference, and we talk about India and other states and country also, and how just you see the world leaders, the world leaders kick a start accelerated climate action COP26. This is a today resolution. I'm going to read it. There's commitments of COP today focus on the real action to limit rising temperatures and support to SIDs and Africa to adopt the climate change, collaboration on green innovation, landmark deforestation commitments, historic methane plays on the agenda. Day three of the COP26 answers uh, yesterday's call for the urgency with the tangible action. The conference starts 31st and going will be ended 12 November. The world leaders are in the UK for the day three of the COP26, where the wide range of the announcement focus on signaling clear shift from ambition to immediate action. Countries have made unprecedented commitments to protect forests, reduce methane emissions, and accelerate green technology. Amid powerful pleas heard in Glasgow yesterday, world leaders, young people, and campaigners all stressed the urgency of taking tangible action to keep the prospect of holding back global temperature rises to 1.5 degrees centigrade and building resilience to climate impacts. 14 leaders took a landmark step forward at convening of world leaders on forest by committing to halt and reverse forest loss and land degradation by 2030. The place is backed by the $12 billion in public and 7.2 billion in private funding. Countries from Canada to Russia to Brazil, which also increased its andes yesterday, China, Colombia, Indonesia, and Democratic Republic of the Congo also endorsed the Glasgow Leaders Declaration on the forest and land use. Together, they support 85% of the world forest area of the over 13 million square miles, which absorb around one third of global CO2 released from the burning fossil fuels each year. This announcement was bolstered with the commitment of by CEO from more than 30 financial institutions with over $8.7 trillion of the global assets, including Aviva, Scrodgers, and AXA, committing to eliminate investment in activities linked to deforestation. Today is the first time the COP in recent history has hosted a major event on methane with 105 countries, including 15 major emitters, including the Brazil, Nigeria, and Canada, signing up to the global methane place. The historic commitment led by the US and EU alongside the UK COP26 presidency equates to up to 40% of global methane emission and 60% of global GDP. More than 35 world leaders have also backed and signed up to the new Glasgow Breakthrough Agenda that will see countries and businesses work together to dramatically scale and speed up by the development and deployment of the clean technology and drive down costs this decade. Signatories include the US, India, EU, developing economies, and some of those most vulnerable to climate change, collectively representing more than 50% of the world's economy in every region. They aim to clean technology the most affordable, accessible, and attractive choice for all globally, the most polluting sectors by 2030, particularly supporting the developing world to access the innovation and the tools needed for a just transition to net zero. Work will focus on the five sectors: power, road transport, hydrogen, steel, and agriculture, which together represent more than half of total global emissions and further demonstrate how countries are moving from commitments to tangible action. Leaders signed up the Glasgow breakthroughs, also committed discussing the global progress every year. Each sector is starting 2022. And the leaders from the South Africa, United Kingdom, United States, France, Germany, and European Union have announced a groundbreaking partnership to support South Africa with an accelerated just energy transition. The first step, international partnership, has announced that $8.5 billion can be made available over the next 3 to 5 years to support South Africa, the world's most carbon intensive electricity producer, to achieve the most ambitious target, with South Africa's upgraded and ambitious nationally determined contribution. So the COP President Alok Sharma, the minister in the UK, also just made a statement. Forests are one of our best defenses against the catastrophic climate change and essential to keep 1.5C alive. This historic commitment will help in the devastating effects of the deforestation and support the developing countries and indigenous communities who are the guardian of the most of the world forest. And the UN High Level Climate Champions for the COP25-26, Angelo Monoz and Nigel also said, and all the leaders also said, and also I just quote how the PM Modi from India has at COP26 in the plans to produce the 450 gigawatts, and then more than 500 through the solar power and other renewable energy sources by 2030. And currently 30% of India's electricity is generated by burning coal. However, India is looking forward to producing more energy than what is currently generated from the entire power grid. The country plans to produce 450 gigawatts of the power through the solar power. As we know, India has leading the International Solar Alliance and the headquarter in India, and more than 60 countries are going to be a member, and very ground level working has already going to be done, and the other renewable resources by 2030. PM Modi plays for the greener future for India at COP26. Prime Minister Narendra Bhai Modi on the going COP26 climate summit in Glasgow has placed by 2030 India will produce more energy through solar and other renewable resources. Modi said at COP26, first, India will increase the non-fossil energy capacity to 500 gigawatts. Second, by 2030, 50% of energy requirements will come from the renewable sources. And India's Bhadla Solar Park is the largest solar park in the world by 2020, with 2,245 megawatts of commissioned solar projects. There is big news for the world also. Around 10 million blue solar panels in the solar park stretch over the area of 5,700 hectares in the Bhadla village in Jodhpur district of the arid state of Rajasthan. The area is almost size of the San Marino, the one country. So we can understand it how the India is going to be done. It's all the just the 2 day nutshell I read before you, all the resolution and all the system how they're going to be conference. So Subodh Kumarji, how just you analyze the scene before us, the challenges also.
Yeah, this is a very positive initiative taken by the Modi, and the whole world appreciated him. Like today, I was just a few minutes back, I wasn't listening the BBC, and every country, every prime minister and the head of the state, they appreciated about the bold step taken by India. And from the first time, a developing country, the head of the state is making a big promise, not only the correcting itself, the country, they're helping others also to correct. They have the set up a lot of training programs, and those countries, especially the developing countries, though those who don't have the no idea to check all these the climate and the global warming, they are coming into for the training to India. So India would not become the only hub for this one. India is on the path of to become the knowledge zone, and this specialization is work for India, and India has already invited the members of the developing country, like the African country especially, to come over here, share their experience, and do the training, train them, and he has the promise to even they invest the money also in this project. So this is a very significant development. India, he has put India on the the global path, global track. Not India is not less than that. And today he valued the Indian passport. When somebody is carrying the Indian passport, it values means now I'm not a Tom dying for any kind of the visa and all these things. Means it's valued the passport of the India because it's give a lot of the proud for the Indians to move in the abroad, and those who are moving in abroad, those who are in a this gives the no association. I belong to India. It's not like they can feel ashamed. Like I belong to developing country. Almost by nature, by economic parameter, we may be the developing country, but our behavior patterns, our economic growth patterns is almost like in a developed country in the world. If you look at I repeated again that if you look at the components of the GDP, our GDP components is headed by the tertiary sector, which is the nature and the sign of any developed country in the world. So the
Yeah.
68.5% we get the money revenue from the service sector, tertiary sector, followed by the manufacturing unit and then the agriculture. So the agriculture is on the path of the industrialization, and this is the problem as well as the benefit also. The this is a way that the India is moving further and further. India is the come up in the best in the service sectors for one region, that the colonial hangover, the colonial legacy, that the Indians can speak English. Even if they can't speak English, they can understand English, right? They are not alien from the English language, and that is the biggest dividend for us. And we have the very intelligent manpower, low cost manpower, which is going to lead. So the India is not lagging behind the China and Japan, China, because it's maybe the manufacturing hub, but the Biden has already promised to withdraw some of the I heard today the Amazon is going to withdraw, going to put the server, relocate the server from the China to some other country. So this is a very positive news. The Apple is also moving to Maharashtra, in some part of the Maharashtra. So
So
these are the positive news on
okay.
this note. I end this
Yeah,
minute.
yeah.
Over to
So,
study.
yeah.
Over to
Rakesh
Rakesh.
Tiwari ji. Ji, Rakesh Tiwari ji just reporting for the Toronto in the special
Yes, sir.
sunlight
Yes,
from the
sir.
Toronto,
Go ahead.
Canada. Sir.
He looks like a James Bond hero. My
Sir,
name
no,
is
sir,
Bond.
no, sir, not after wearing his spec, then you can see, but no comment on the personal way. We are on the live show in a very professional way. So that look nice, sir. Just a gone one. He is driving now and just joined the show. I'll try to connect him.
The
And
moment I appreciated him, he disappeared. So
yeah,
next
yeah.
time
So
he
don't appreciate on the screen after the
ah,
screen.
no
That's
appreciation,
yeah.
for him. Then only talk
So
the
just your, I think just we should take
yeah.
break, and after break I'll give it.
What's your take? You asked the question, but you are itself is a very eminent journalist, and you have been reporting
Sir,
all these.
I'll come after the break. Yeah. Yes, welcome after the break. And just we're discussing Subodhi, how the resolution just we have read, and how the India is going to be the very and promising way, just clean, free, and the solar on the solar alliance. India has the great contribution to the world. More than 100 countries is going to member. It's not a
No,
easy.
the the solar energy is that India is going to lead in that, because we have the certain part where the summer is always there, and the most of the part we can produce a lot of energy. For
Yeah.
example, the Rajasthan, the some part of the Gujarat, the we get the
Now,
always
yeah. So
electricity.
Rakesh Tiwari ji is now. So don't wear specs. Specs actually just don't like the screen. So that's good. So Rakesh Tiwari ji, how do you analyze the just COP resolution? It's going to be the next 10 days more, and all premiers of the different countries and your country also attended this United Nations Climate Change Conference. So how just you see analyzed for the emission part, and how that taken the resolution and all.
Thanks so much, Rakesh ji, and Boji, in Glasgow, with this meeting which is going on at this point, and when we talked about, I think just last week, a few days back, on your program, and we talked about G20 meeting, and at that time, and one of the most important aspects is the environment. And I'm so glad that most of the world leaders are agreeing
Yeah.
with this part. They are agreeing with this part when we talk about the climate change, about the environmental conditions which is deteriorating in the world. And we can see that throughout the world, be it Bharat, be it America, be it another countries, Spain, Brazil, a lot of places, the the climatical disasters, which is happening, calamities are happening at the same time. And I'm glad that let me mention this, that two parts, both countries have taken a lead. I'm talking about Bharat, where media has given action when Prime Minister Modi mentioned by 2020, Bharat has promised to for the 0% zero emission. That's huge goal, and just trying to take within 40 period of time. And at the same time, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has also mentioned, and Canada is doing its part in that. So the new leadership has emerged, and hopefully they are going to work towards it. But I wish that this will not be just merely the word. At least I do feel sincerity. I kind of I will say that feel a sincerity among the today's world leaders who are showing the sincerity. The action part is still right now we have to see. Surprisingly, as we all know, that the corporate world, along and with the blessing of the various governments, be it in Canada, be it in Bharat, be it, where we have allowed eco disasters, means let the countries, let the trees get cut off mercilessly on the name of development. Late in the tropical areas where hills are there, and we have allowed the mining and the new the so-called development infrastructure to continue without and ignoring the environmental aspects, and the lobbies are the NGOs who are working in that, and the scientists, I will say. So that's what we are paid towards it. And the way we are going, if we have not controlled ourselves, the human race will be wiped out merely within 2 to 3 generations. So I don't think by 2200, if you have not controlled ourselves, if you have not, governments have not taken the strictest measures which is required at this time, then
Okay, just a connectivity problem. I think he was driving. So Sowat Kumarji, I'll just relate the next question to him when he joined. But there's a very interesting. The experts uh, call PM Modi's climate pledges transformative, smart, and balanced. So, how just the Prime Minister Narendra Modi's 5 key climate commitments, including setting of the 500 gigawatts of the installed non-fossil fuel power capacity by 2030, getting 50% of the energy from the renewable sources by the same time, and achieving net zero emissions by 2070 have got a resounding applause from the experts. And at the 26th UN Climate Change Conference of the parties, the COP26 in Glasgow, Modi also said that India would reduce its emission intensity by close to 45% by 2030 and cut 1 billion tons of the carbon emission by 2030. This is the great declaration, and if it will happen, the great achievements. The Indian environment experts said while the country has made the right moves as led from the front of Glasgow, India's action on ground will be watched closely. Here, some experts, Dr. Ajay Mathur, Director General International Solar Alliance, just he just made a comment. He has made the bold announcement, and just 1 million tons of emission is a very good task. The Dr. Namroz Duas Professor Center for Policy Research. The process of Indian announcement depends on the benchmark used. Most interesting and promising, the longest statement. And Vibhuti Garg, energy economist, Institute for the Energy Economics and Financial Analysis. India is placed to increase the share of electricity generation from renewable energy resources 50% by 2030. Also reduce the emissions. So all appreciated. Dr. Pavan Chaturvedi and Fallow. So how just you just to you see the expert comment, both Kumar.
I'm very happy that this time when he was addressing the Modi turned out to be the not the prime minister only, which is constitutionally he is a prime minister. Nobody has doubt for that. But he emerged as a professor. Hey, the way he was behaving, the way he was
Yeah, yeah.
informing the
The
whole
body
world,
language and the slang in the yeah
like
teacher mode. Yeah.
and elucidate the very detailed graphic details of the everything. He turned out to be like a professor of the Harvard and Oxford University, where he was the addressing the everybody. So this is a very interesting. It's gonna give you the sense that your prime minister is the talking without having any paper and something like that. It's not like he's reading the newspaper paper. Indira Gandhi used to do that, and Rajiv Gandhi used to do that, and followed by Manmohan Singh, the champion of that, uh, of reading the paper. So he was an extempore. He It shows his body language that he imbibed every facts in his heart. He himself is convinced. He by reading the newspaper, it seems to be the somebody forcing you, or it's in a collective decision of the something which you're doing it. But here, the way he explained it, the way he put it together in front of the whole world, it seems to be that he internalized the whole facts, and he convinced about that. So it is not coming from his mouth, it's coming from his heart. And
So
he
nice.
will stand with this commitment, and hopefully that he will bring the India number one country in this situation where the champion of the climate, right? Tomorrow the India would be the exemplify for the others, and others country would learn the lessons from us, and as well as the neighboring country. Prime Minister was not doing everything for the in looking at the India's foreign policy also. This is in a very big way that the Western world tried to catch up the developing countries, right? So he was teaching a lesson to China also indirectly. Look, if I'm taking this step, you were the equally polluter of the world, so you should also take this initiative. It means I'm not fixing the parameters for me, I'm fixing for you also. If you don't do that, you will be the biggest polluter, and then I can easily put you the blame. Although we cannot put the more blame on the China, because there is a Himalaya, so the air does not come from that side, and the Tibetan side is in a vacant, no more
Yeah.
population,
So
human population.
Rakesh
But
Tiwari ji
South
now.
China Sea, South China Sea, of course, it's going to affect the marine of the South China Sea. If there is
Okay.
pollution, would become very high.
So Rakesh
Over to
Tiwari
you.
ji, just a question for you. Actually, there's the first time on COP, a recent history has hosted a major event on methane with 105 countries, including 15 major emitters. Just you mind it. The 15 major emitters, including Brazil, Nigeria, and Canada, signing up to the global methane pledge. The historic commitment led by US and European Union, alongside the UK COP26 presidency, equates to up to 40% of global methane emissions and 60% of global GDP. How do you analyze this? How do you see it?
Well, Kumarakashi, let me say one thing. You mentioned, I'm so glad that you brought the methane in that. We all know that the carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide oxide and this methane gas comes from especially when with the emission means when you are so much vehicles, petrol, diesel is getting burnt
and that's why all these things are happening. But at the same time, let me bring this very major thing which has been not even mentioned by the whole world media. And while why I want to say that, and I could say
No,
this.
my question is different.
Let me come there.
Sorry,
Let me just mention this about the methane gas. I hope you are aware.
not
I
not
have done
not
some
not
program.
not the methane gas.
But let me
The
complete
place,
this.
please.
Let me mention this. This is maybe for your viewers too. Also, this information might be new because we are discussing about it. You should know that the cattle industry means which is called beef industry as well. Okay, when they cut off the cows and the all this major animals, cows and the bulls and all that. So when they cut it, so the nature, Mother Nature has created these animals that their digestion happen with the methane gas. So when you cut it, so you'll be shocked and surprised that in this today's present world, the total emission when we are mentioning it, if I'm not wrong here, when I did the program around 5 6 years back, at that time it was number one, 20 to 22% of the emission is caused by the cattle and beef industry, where you are cutting this because that is coming out. Okay, because that has been coming out from this cattle, these animals. We are talking about cows and all this. You're talking about bulls and other animals such animals are like that. But this has been not mentioned by the world media even at that forum too, and which is a reality. I'm not making it up. I'm not a scientist, but I have done a program on it that what is affecting, and it was published in on various medias. You guys can search it. That what how methane gas is coming from the beef industry, and which is they are utilizing it. If that gets stopped, our environment will right away, and which is not needed. So this is such a huge topic, which I suppose that this conference should take over on it.
Sir, my question was different. You're talking about the methane. My question was just how did today, the first time on 2nd November of 2021, the COP in the history of COP, first time hosted major event on methane with 105 countries, including, I'm repeating the same, 15 major emitters, including the Brazil, Nigeria, and Canada, signing up to global methane pledge. I think you got it. The historic
Yeah,
commitment
sure.
led
Okay,
by
great.
the please. So historic commitment led by US and EU alongside the UK COP26 presidency equates to up to 40% of global methane emissions and 60% of global GDP. So how do you just see it? Okay, I think that the major emitters in the Canada also, Nigeria also, Brazil also, and the 15 major. So how just you
Well,
see it?
let me answer in a different way. Miss, everybody is responsible. Nobody is spared here, other than that. The people who living in Amazon,
Sir, I am
forest.
talking about the today
I
resolution.
know.
This is the
You're talking about Nigeria. You're talking about Canada. You're talking about three other countries. You're talking about Brazil. Okay, all these countries you're talking about.
no,
But
no,
let
I want
me
to talk
let
all the countries, but Canada is also there.
no, no.
You are
I'm
from
talking. Yeah,
Canada.
yeah. Let me address this in a different way. Do you know that yesterday and today's when I was reading the Forbes magazine and CBC here, and there was two things were majorly mentioned in the global media. One thing was mentioned that in this environmental summit, what happened here particularly, they said that Russia is not there, if China is not there, and some more major countries are not part of it. And they said only from the BRICS and all the whole group, only Bharat is there, Modi is there. They mentioned Modi, okay, Modi is there. Now they mentioned that the 40% of carbon dioxide, or you can say the emission, is I will say represented by Bharat only. So Western media is saying
No, no,
that,
no,
well,
no.
you know what,
Actually, you're
China,
giving the
Russia,
wrong
Bharat,
facts.
all these countries are creating the
No, no,
40%.
I am
Okay,
asking you, sir. I am asking you the different question. You are giving
I
the
know
reply in a different way.
Everybody is whosoever is responsible,
Sir,
they have
my
to
pointed
observe and they
question.
have to take care of it.
This is not a Bharat of Canada. This is whatever I am telling you. Just I am asking you. Just you see the resolution. I am reading the resolution of the COP26. That's why I am asking you. This is the first time in the history. Again, just the first time. There's a Canada to Russia, Brazil also just increased the NDC yesterday. But what I am going to ask you, the first time in the history about the methane gas, the global methane place has been taken. So how just whatever the program, so that's why I wanted to know from you how just see the five key sectors also responsible for the all the emissions, the global emissions, the power, road, transport, hydrogen, steel, and agriculture sectors. So that is also the going on the consultation on the these sectors uh, premiers of the different countries. That is also issue. So the name is Canada. So how you see the Canada is really just the emitters and just especially on methane. How do you see it? My question is
Well, I see that. See, let's put it this way: as I mentioned, everybody is
related to
responsible.
Canada from
Canada,
global
yeah,
methane place.
Canada has committed its Canada has committed itself with the Kyoto, okay, and Canada is doing its part, okay. Do you know that one thing? I forgot in let me say in Canada, you have to every year, whenever you go to renew your car, okay, renew your license, okay, you have to get your car emission test as must. Without that, you cannot put even the car on the road, and it all gets data, the data and everything gets restored with the environment ministry here. So Canada, what I meant by this all, that Canada is committed towards this the what it has made the promise in Kyoto and in the coming areas too, okay. So Canada is doing its part, okay. So you cannot blame, I mean, I cannot speak for Nigeria, Brazil, another country, but Canada is
Okay,
a democratic country, and Canada
okay,
has done its part, is doing very responsibility, has taken its part. Okay, very minimal, although the blame comes on that, in my understanding. Okay, but Canada is doing its part and is committed towards it. Thank you.
okay. So what how just you see the I think same question I am asking you the first time in the COP history the with 105 countries a major event on methane. So including 15 major emitters, including the Brazil, Nigeria, Canada, and all, has signing of the global methane place. How do you see it?
This is a very
This
good
this will
news. And
control the 40% global methane emissions in the world.
emission.
40%.
Yes, yes, because the Brazil is in a leading country of the beef export, right? Followed by the other country. So they Modi ji has the very good know how to handle the Lalu Prasad Yadav. Bolsonaro is also the global Lalu Prasad Yadav. He's a joker. So the Brazilian prime minister, but he bring down to the signing the documents in a very peaceful manner. That's his achievement. He's in a Bolsonaro. Bolsonaro is very difficult guys in the global
Okay,
politics.
okay,
And
okay.
before that, the president was that he
But
was
according to my view, this is a very good decision, and all 105 countries and the major countries signed for the global methane place. This is a good sign, a good achievement of the COP26 within the conference of the 2 days.
and good that
So
India will also put the check on the beef production because
So
enough beef
that
production.
is a different issue, but we're just going to adopt the solar alliance, the solar energy. That is a big achievement for the world from the India. So I'm just now, I'm going to wind up how does COP today and the world leaders, CEO and the philanthropist expected to launch a series of new initiatives in support of Glasgow breakthrough, including the launch of UK-India-led Green Grid Initiative, One Sun, One World, One Grid, endorsed by the 80 countries to mobilize political will, finance, and the technical assistance needed to interconnect continents, countries, and communities to the very best renewable sources of power globally to ensure no one is left without access to clean energy. The Rockefeller Foundation, alongside the IKEA Foundation and the Bezos Earth Fund, launched the Global Energy Alliance for People and Planet with the initial of the $10 billion for funding from the philanthropies and development banks to support energy access and clean energy transition in the global south in a strategic partnership with the UK-led Energy Transition Council. AIM4C, a new initiative led by the US and UAE, United Arab Emirates, with over 30 supporting countries committed to accelerating innovation in sustainable agriculture, having already garnered $4 billion in increased investment in the climate-smart agriculture and food system innovation, including the $1 billion from the US, the Breakthrough Energy Catalyst headed by the Bill Gates program aiming to raise $3 billion to concessional capital to catalyze up to $30 billion of investment to bring down clean technology costs and create markets for green products for green hydrogen and direct air capture, long duration energy storage and sustainable aviation fuel, including 200 million pound of the UK support. The First Mover Coalition, a US-led buyers club of 25 major global companies making purchasing commitments to help commercialize the key emerging clean technology across hard-to decarbonize sectors like steel, trucking, shipping, aviation, aluminum, concrete, chemicals, and direct air capture. So the 2 days into the COP26, just I'm reading the whatever, taking the very nice resolution already being made. Yesterday saw India, Thailand, Nepal, Nigeria, and Vietnam make a new net zero pledges, which now means that 90% of the global economy is covered by the net zero commitments. India's announcement also included, this is a resolution of the COP26 where the name of India has been mentioned. The India announcement also included a suite of the ambitious 2030 commitments just applauded by all countries. This is just a reading the resolution, including 500 gigawatts non-fossil fuel power capacity, 50% energy requirements from the renewable sources, and 45% reduction of the carbon intensity of the economy. We have had new industry announcement from Argentina, Brazil, Guyana, India, Mauritania, Morocco, Mozambique, and Thailand, and the new long-term studies announced or submitted by Jamaica, Kazakhstan, and USA. On climate finance, we have been seeing the new commitments from Ireland, Spain, Australia, and Luxembourg. So these are all the today's development resolution, and just we have read it and hope it will be the very productive conference the next 10 days, and will next after the conference will also make a special program on it. Thank you very much. So Subodhji and Rakesh Tiwari to attend this show. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Jai Bharat.